she says she has a very bad memory, and she actually trained herself to have a very poor memory. So every morning when she woke up, she would see things afresh, with a fresh eye. Jean Cooke is part of the post-war British figurative art scene. Up to the Second World War, it was very hard for women to be recognised, which, by the fact that they were women, struggled to establish themselves and be recognised on an equal par to their male counterparts. Women were considered to be subordinate to their husbands, if you like.
Day after I'd married John, I ran away. I ran up the exhibition road and grabbed a bus and got my hand on the thing and one foot on the thing, and John came up behind me and pulled me off and dragged me all the way down again. And I kept saying help, but nobody bothered.
We've got an example of a painting here, a rather beautiful, delicate still life of a nasturtium in her hand. And you can see that she signed it at the top left, Jean Bratby, but then also down at the bottom, Jean Cooke.
He wouldn't let me be Cook, you see. He said, "Oh, you're not Cook anymore, you belong to me," he said. "You belong to me." John used to paint me, and I didn't. My friend said, he used to say, "Oh, he makes you look like old, he makes you look so old." And then they said, "Oh, you're starting to look like his paintings." So I thought, well, I'd better do something about this, and I started painting myself the way I wanted to be seen, or try to.
John was a prolific painter. He was driven to paint, often producing 2 or 3 canvases every day. And that output required a great deal of support. Jean, of course, was an artist in her own right, and she wanted to develop her own career. So there was inevitable crises ahead. John would rush into her studio in 7 Hardy Road because he'd ran out of materials in his own, and would grab one of her canvases, although it might have been almost complete, and paint over it. There's always a level of melancholia in her self-portraiture. They're quite introspective, but self-revelatory. She didn't cower away from revealing herself. The honesty in her work has always been obvious to me, has always struck me that she's one of these artists that is prepared to portray herself as she felt she was.
I used to whiz them off just like that, you know, and leave them around, and I remember leaving some stuff in my mother's cottage, and the man said, "Don't you want these? Just self-portrait drawings." "Oh no," I said, "I'll leave. I've got billions of them," and left it behind me.
I actually love the idea that she had all these doves in her house and in her garden, and they made quite good photographs for me. Oh, she was very fond of them. Some of them even had names. I met Jean in the area that I lived in Blackheath. She lived just around the corner in Hardy Road. I grew interested in taking photos of her in her studio. She never posed, and it's just as if I wasn't taking pictures. She was just very natural. She just got on with her painting and what she was doing, and I just run around snapping with a quite a quiet rangefinder camera. John had moved down to Hastings and was living down there. She didn't talk about him very much, no. She was quite her own person when I knew her. She didn't dwell on her marriage. She became very independent, yes. The house was really important to her. She had a wonderful studio. It was a garage and it was huge. One day, about midday, I had a phone call from her saying, "Oh, Linda, I'm a neighbour's house. My house burnt down last night." And I couldn't believe what she was saying. She rescued what she could of her paints, her canvases and any pictures that hadn't been destroyed. Went upstairs, and there was nothing left in any of the rooms. You could just see the sky through the roof.
Her parents lived in Sussex, and so she was drawn to Berlin Gap and the coast from an early age, and managed to find a property very close to the edge of the cliff, which was of course incredibly exciting for her and gave her the freedom and opportunity to paint the coast.
She'd paint the sea and the cliffs, the Seven Sisters, and I think she felt that she could concentrate more on her painting down there. You can just see the remains of the cottage where it has fallen off the cliff. It's eroded, and that's how close it was to the very edge of the cliff. In fact, when I visited her, I was too afraid to go outside the back door because it was so near the edge of the cliff, about three feet, and I wouldn't go outside for fear of falling. It was so nerve-wracking.
I think the free spirit that Jean Cooke represented is illustrated by that. Here she is, living in a house which is about to fall into the sea, and I remember her sitting here saying, well, that will see me out. It would be long enough for her. I think a lot of women painters have gone on to rest on the shoulders of pioneers like Jean Cooke, who weren't prepared to take second place, who wanted to be seen as professional painters in their own right.
If she couldn't paint, she wouldn't have the life that she wanted.
What do you think Jean would think of us making a film about her?
I think she'd be directing it, definitely, yes. And she'd probably be painting you all as well.